Osceola, the defiant spirit who fought for the Seminole homeland. The tangled undergrowth of Florida, as Everglades once rang with the battle cries of freedom seekers and warriors, led by a man whose very name became a symbol of resistance. Osceola, known to his people as Black Drink Singer, was neither born into hereditary power nor chosen by council decree. Yet his fierce leadership and unwavering resolve would ignite one of the most remarkable chapters in Native American history. In the face of forced removal and broken treaties, Osceola stood as a living barrier between the Seminole and the relentless advance of the United States. Forged by two worlds, Osceola's story began around 1804, in a world where nations and identities blurred along the shifting frontiers of the American South. He was born to a Creek mother and reportedly a mixed heritage father, growing up amidst the turmoil that defined early 19th century Indian country. As pressures mounted from encroaching settlers, Osceola and his family joined the Seminole community in Florida, a tribe known for its inclusivity, as well as its resolve to remain free on their ancestral lands. Osceola's youth was shaped by hardship, survival, and the constant threat of displacement. But it was also shaped by the Seminole tradition of adopting outsiders and forging unity in diversity. Here, Osceola found his people and his purpose. A new threat, the Treaty of Payne's Landing. By the 1830s, the U.S. government's policy of Indian removal had reached Florida. The Treaty of Payne's Landing, signed under heavy pressure and dubious circumstances, called for the Seminole to abandon their homeland for unfamiliar Western territory. For Osceola and many others, this was an unthinkable betrayal. The swamps, rivers, and forests of Florida were more than just land. They were the heart of Seminole culture, memory, and survival. Osceola refused to accept the treaty's legitimacy. He rallied warriors, families, and an increasingly diverse community, including African Americans who had escaped slavery and sought refuge among the Seminole. Together, they retreated deeper into the Everglades, turning the wilderness into a fortress of resistance. The Seminole War. Defiance in the swamps. Osceola quickly proved himself an exceptional leader and strategist. Though never formally named a chief, he inspired fierce loyalty through his courage, intelligence, and impassioned oratory. He led daring raids on military forts and supply lines, using the difficult terrain to outmaneuver far larger U.S. forces. The Second Seminole War became one of the costliest and most protracted conflicts in American Indian history. Osceola's guerrilla tactics, intimate knowledge of the land, and ability to bring together Seminole warriors and fugitive slaves confounded his enemies and galvanized his followers. He was famous for his charisma and sense of justice. When, in a dramatic moment, he thrust his knife through a copy of the hated treaty during a meeting with U.S. officials, he made it clear, "This is our land, and we will not leave." A community of resistance. Osceola's fight was not only for the Seminole, but for all who sought independence and dignity in the face of oppression. The Everglades became a sanctuary for those fleeing enslavement, and Osceola welcomed them, forging bonds that would endure long after the war's end. His vision of community was radical for its time, a blend of native peoples, African Americans, and others united by their refusal to be uprooted. This solidarity helped the Seminole resist removal far longer than most tribes, and it left a legacy of courage and multicultural unity that survives in Florida as Seminole descendants today. Betrayal and imprisonment. Despite his successes on the battlefield, Osceola's downfall came not through combat, but through treachery. In 1837, under the pretense of peace negotiations, Osceola was seized by U.S. troops while carrying a white flag, a violation of both trust and military conduct. He was imprisoned at Fort Moultrie in South Carolina, where he became the focus of national attention. Artists painted his portrait, journalists chronicled his words and sufferings. Osceola died in captivity in January 1838, his health broken but his spirit unbowed. To his people and to admirers across the country, he became a martyr, proof that even in defeat, dignity and resistance could endure. The unyielding legacy, Osceola's story, did not end with his death. The Seminole never fully surrendered. Many remained in Florida, their descendants still living on the land he fought so fiercely to protect. To this day, Osceola is remembered not just as a warrior, but as a unifying force, a man who forged solidarity among the oppressed and whose name still evokes pride and resilience. In the wild heart of the Everglades, Osceola's spirit lingers, a reminder that the fight for justice and home can outlast any battlefield defeat. His legacy endures in every Seminole who walks free on Florida soil, and in every voice that rises against injustice, refusing to be silenced or moved.